In the primordial night before the sun bore its first light, before time had found its rhythm, a deed was done that would forever tear the unity of existence asunder. Uranus, the vast sky-father, descended once more to embrace Earth Mother Gaia, his heart still heavy with the sin of suppression, for in the depths below his children languished, bound in darkness by his own command. But on this night, something waited in the darkness that even the great sky god could not foresee. His sons, mighty Kreos of the constellations, far-seeing Coeus of the north, crafty Iapetus of mortality's limit, and gleaming Hyperion of unwearying light, emerged from shadow to seize their father's limbs. And there stood Gaia, Earth Mother herself, witness to her own terrible justice. From the darkness stepped forward her youngest and most terrible son, Kronos, bearing the adamantine sickle, a weapon forged from the very essence of unbreakable necessity. In his hands gleamed the blade that would sever heaven from earth, that would birth time itself from the blood of eternity. What lies beneath these simple words of Genesis? What ancient memory does the fourth day of creation conceal? What truth did the writers of our sacred texts hide about the violent birth of time itself? Join us as we unveil the hidden concordance between the Book of Genesis, the Orphic Mysteries, and the Babylonian Creation Epic. Three tellings of one cosmic truth, the reign of Kronos, Lord of Time, and the price paid for the ordering of the heavens. Before the measurement of moments, before the dance of celestial spheres, existence dwelled in a state that our linear minds can barely grasp. Three sacred traditions speak of this time before time, each unveiling a facet of the ineffable truth. In the Orphic Mysteries, we hear of that which cannot be spoken, the Aratos arch, the unutterable beginning. Within the vast aether formed a cosmic egg, silver bright and terrible, containing all potentials, all futures, all pasts that would ever be. From Genesis comes the echo, V'haaretz haita tohu vavohu, and the earth was formless and void. Here too we find the waters of possibility, the Tehom, the great deep over which the divine spirit moved in eternal contemplation. And in the most ancient city temples of Babylon, they spoke of Apsu and Tiamat. The sweet and bitter waters mingled as one, when skies above were not yet named, nor earth below pronounced by name, when no gods whatever had been brought into being. But this unity could not last. In each telling we find the first stirring of cosmic disquiet. In the Orphic vision, mighty Uranus, the starry heaven, pressed down upon Gaia, imprisoning his children in her womb, denying them the light of becoming. And vast Gaia groaned within, being straightened. In Genesis, the waters above and below churned against each other, requiring divine speech to establish their bounds. And in Babylon's memory, aged Apsu grew troubled by the noise of young gods. Their ways were verily loathsome unto me. By day I cannot rest, by night I cannot lie down in peace. Three tellings, one truth. The primordial unity had to be broken. Something had to arise that could measure, divide and order. Something had to emerge that could separate what was above from what was below. Time itself had to be born. But such a birth would require an act of violence so profound it would forever change the nature of existence itself. A moment of profound transformation approached, though moment is perhaps the wrong word, for time itself had not yet been born. Where the narrative of Genesis glosses over the fourth day with the creation of heavenly lights, with clinical and precise veiling of the esoteric. In the temple depths of Babylon, Ea prepared his incantation. In the veiled words of Genesis, divine speech gathered its power to summon the heavenly spheres. But it is in the Orphic telling that we find the fullness of this cosmic drama. Here, the universe is a vast, living entity pulsating with life and energy. The Orphic tradition reveals the intricate interplay of forces that shape our world, offering a deeper understanding of the mysteries of existence. When Uranus descended once more to unite with Gaia, the Titans emerged from shadow. They seized their father, binding the very sky itself. Then Kronos, bearing the adamantine sickle, performed the deed that would birth both time and love. The divine members, severed from heaven, flew through the wine-dark sea, their power not destroyed but transformed. In the restless azure waters, they swirled and churned, creating a wonder beyond imagining, a foam from which emerged heavenly Aphrodite, Urania, mother of harmony herself. Thus, from the very act that birthed time, came love's celestial form. Attended by zeal and divine deception, Zelos and Apate. For even in this highest mystery, truth and illusion dance as one. In Babylon's memory, this emerged as Ea's triumph over Apsu. He put Apsu to slumber as he poured out sleep. He split Apsu's sinews, ripped off his crown, carried away his aura and put it on himself. He bound Apsu and killed him. In Genesis it echoes as the separation of the waters and the raising of the firmament, but in each telling we witness the same profound truth. Order could only emerge through division, time through severance, love through violence. The heavens lifted up, finding their eternal distance from earth. The celestial spheres began their measured dance. And in the space between, in that great divide created by Kronos' sacred deed, existence itself found its rhythm. A rhythm measured now by the pulse of newly born time, guided by the harmony of celestial love. In the wake of the great severance, a new order arose. The reign of Kronos, Lord of Time, under whose dominion the very fabric of material existence would be woven into being. What was once mere potential in the mind of Phanes, what existed as divine archetype in the realm of night, now found its manifestation through time's measured hand. For it is time alone that can transform divine thought into material reality. The Orphic voice tells us of this age of the Titans, each embodying a cosmic force necessary for material existence. Okeanos, whose streams encompass all becoming. Hyperion, through whom celestial light finds its measure. Themis, by whom natural law finds its expression. Mnemosyne, in whom all patterns are preserved. Each a mason in time's great cosmic architecture. As the Genesis account veils in simple words, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. But what lies hidden in these words, the great philosopher Damascius penetrates deeper. Time itself becomes the measurer of all things, the principle by which divine ideas descend into material form. For this is the profound truth of Kronos' reign. It is through time that the immeasurable becomes measured. The infinite finds finite form. The eternal enters the realm of succession. Yet this great ordering carried within it seeds of its own transformation. As Kronos swallowed his children, so too does time seem to devour all that comes into being. The Orphic Mysteries teach us, and Kronos learned from Gaia and starry Uranus that he was destined to be overcome by his own son. Here we touch the deepest mystery of temporal existence, that time itself must give way to something beyond time, that material manifestation carries within it the seeds of spiritual transcendence. But before that great transformation could occur, the titanic powers had to complete their work. Under Kronos' reign, the very substance of our reality was forged, the matter from which we ourselves are shaped, the time through which we move, the space in which we dwell. This is the hidden meaning of the fourth day of creation. Not merely the ordering of celestial bodies, but the emergence of materiality itself through time's transformative power. We are children of the Titans, shaped from the substance they forged in time's great crucible. Our very bodies are composed of their essence, our minds move through the patterns they established, our souls recall their divine architecture. To understand time is to understand ourselves, for we are beings woven from time's fabric, yet carrying within us the seeds of time's transcendence. The transformation of chaos into cosmos requires not just force, but sacred understanding. The Babylonian voice speaks of Ea, who fashioned it and made it to be all-embracing. He executed it skillfully as supreme, his pure incantation. Like Kronos with his adamantine sickle, Ea's weapon was not merely force, but divine intelligence itself. For in both traditions, we witness not mere rebellion, but calculated transformation. The Orphic Mysteries tell us that Kronos, after his great deed, set his dwelling upon his fathers. So too does Ea make his dwelling in the very waters of his defeated father Apsu. What Genesis veils in simple phrase, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters," the Babylonian and Orphic traditions illuminate in full mystery. For the waters that divide are not mere substance, but the very essence of possibility, awaiting wisdom's touch. After Ea had bound and slain his enemies, had achieved victory over his foes, he rested quietly in his chamber. This is no mere rest, but profound transformation, the establishment of wisdom's dwelling in chaos's former domain. For in ancient Babylon, the waters are associated with wisdom and the mysteries. In his chamber, Ea takes possession of the tablets of destiny, just as Kronos claims the scepter of cosmic rule. The Orphic story of Kronos echoes in the Enuma Elish. He bound Apsu and killed him. He rested quietly in his chamber. He called it Apsu, whose shrines he appointed. Then he founded his living quarters within it. Yet this violence serves a higher purpose: the establishment of divine order. From Ea's wisdom emerges not just separation, but sacred measure. His chamber becomes the very axis of cosmic order, the place where divine intelligence shapes primordial potential. As Genesis tells in shadow, "And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning the fourth day." Genesis veils the cycles of creation in an impersonal fashion, a clever maneuver, but one that still shows the structure of succession. Each age of the gods still echoes in the day-to-day account of Genesis. In all three traditions, we witness the same profound truth, that cosmic order requires both severance and wisdom, both force and understanding. Ea's incantation, Kronos' sickle. The divine speech of God, itself each a tool by which intelligence shapes chaos into cosmos. From Ea's defeat of Apsu flow the sweet waters of wisdom. From Kronos' deed emerges measured time. From divine speech comes ordered creation. Three tellings of one truth, that consciousness itself must establish its dwelling in the very substance it transforms. For this is the deeper mystery, that the rebel must become the ruler. They must transform the very power they overthrow. Ea's chamber in Apsu's depths becomes the template for all sacred spaces, all temples, all places where divine wisdom dwells in material form. And these waters of wisdom continue to flow, carrying forward the eternal pattern that divine intelligence must ever engage with primordial substance, must ever transform chaos into cosmos, must ever establish its dwelling in the depths of what it has overcome. In the depths of these sacred traditions lies a pattern so profound, so troubling to conventional theology, that it has been veiled beneath layers of reinterpretation. Yet in the Orphic Mysteries and Babylonian wisdom, we find a truth that Genesis seems to invert: the necessity of divine rebellion. Three sons rise against their fathers: Kronos against Uranos, Ea against Apsu, and in the shadows of biblical memory, Lucifer against the divine throne. But why does the Bible alone cast this rebellion as fall rather than necessity? This curious inversion speaks to a radical shift in the perspective of humanity and our participation in the divine. The Orphic voice reveals, when first their father was vexed in his heart, he bound them in cruel bonds. Each cosmic cycle bears witness: the father who suppresses becomes the father who must be overcome. Uranos bound his children in Gaia's womb. Kronos swallowed his offspring whole. each act of suppression calling forth its own necessary rebellion. Is it mere coincidence that our word Lucifer means light-bringer? For in both Orphic and Babylonian accounts, it is the rebellious sun who brings order from chaos, light from darkness. Yet in biblical memory this pattern is inverted, the light-bringer cast into shadow. Is this inversion a clever way to disempower humanity, an attempt to make us believe we are fallen? But perhaps the most profound truth lies in our own nature. The Orphic teachings speak of humanity's dual inheritance, born from the ashes of the titans who consumed divine Zagreus. We are neither purely divine nor purely material, but a sacred amalgam of both. It is our sacred duty to challenge outdated and rigid structures that no longer serve. Within us flows the blood of rebellion, the titanic force that dares to transform cosmos. This is not our curse, but our hidden gift, the capacity to participate in cosmic transformation. As the philosopher Proclus taught, the titanic nature in us is necessary for the completion of the whole world. The pattern repeats: Uranus falls to Kronos, Kronos to Zeus, each cycle necessary for cosmic evolution. The Bible remembers this pattern, but inverts its meaning, casting the necessary rebel as eternal adversary. Yet what if this very rebellion, this titanic nature within us, is not our fall from grace, but our capacity for divine participation? The Orphic revelations teach us that we are children of both ordered pattern and rebellion, of both divine law and titanic transformation. Our task is not to deny this dual heritage, but to understand its profound necessity in the cosmic drama. For in the words of the Mysteries, from the Titans we are born, and from their ashes we shall rise and become Olympian. Perhaps it is time to reclaim our titanic inheritance, not as a mark of sin, but as the very force through which divine potential enters material form. For in the oldest memories of our species, rebellion against heaven was not a fall from grace, but the necessary birth of a new cosmic order in which we are meant to be active participants, not victims awaiting some far-off and eternal judgment. Time's great wheel turns, and in its turning reveals patterns our limited perspective struggles to grasp. We stand now at the threshold of understanding, where three sacred traditions converge to illuminate a truth both terrible and profound. Kronos, Ea, Lucifer, the hidden force behind Genesis's fourth day, each a facet of the same cosmic necessity. Through their stories we glimpse how divine potential manifests through time's transformative power. The Orphic voice whispers, "For from the dance of these two, earth and water, everything which is comes to be." In Babylon's temples they understood creation requires destruction. In Greece's mysteries they knew order emerges from divine rebellion. Even in Genesis's carefully measured words we find traces of this pattern. For what is the separation of waters but cosmic dismemberment by another name? We who dwell in time's domain must learn to see through time's veil. These are not competing stories but harmonious voices in an eternal chorus. The titanic forces that shaped cosmos still pulse in our veins, not as curse but as heritage, not as sin but as sacred potential. For we are children of both order and chaos, of both divine law and necessary rebellion. The Orphic Mysteries teach that from the ashes of the Titans, humanity arose, carrying within us both the divine spark and the titanic power to transform reality itself. But Kronos' reign, like all things bound by time, carries seeds of its own transformation. Even now we sense the approaching thunder of a new order. For as the Orphic voice foretells, Zeus took up the imperishable thunderbolt, crafted for him by the one-eyed Cyclopes. A new king approaches, Zeus in Greece, Marduk in Babylon, who will once again tear cosmos asunder to forge a new heaven, a new order, a new understanding. The cycle of divine rebellion continues, for this is the very pulse of cosmic evolution. Until that story unfolds, we stand in time's domain, inheritors of its profound mystery. These ancient voices call us not to choose between them, but to penetrate their unified truth. For in their harmony, we find our own nature illuminated, beings forged in time's crucible, carrying time's power to transform, to rebel, to create. Was Kronos the first light-bringer, whose rebellion illuminated cosmos? Was divine love born from sacred violence? Does time itself teach us that rebellion against heaven is not fall, but necessity? These questions echo through eternity's vault, waiting for those with ears to hear, eyes to see, and hearts brave enough to face their implications.